Good evening, everyone. Great to have you all join us this evening for our 8th session of the Community in Uncertain Times series. I'm Ramona, founder of ITM. It gives me great honor to be joined by Elder Dave Courchene, Nii Gaani Aki Inini, leading Earthman, respected elder and knowledge keeper of the Anishinaabe Nation, who has devoted his entire life to environmental stewardship. In 2002, Dave founded the Turtle Lodge, International Center for Indigenous Education and Wellness, a sacred lodge recognized internationally and by the Assembly of First Nations as one of the most important gathering places for Indigenous peoples on this land. Dave Courchene has been an inspiration and guiding light to us personally, as well as for ITM. When we opened ITM over a decade ago, we pledged to maintain the values that were set out by the Turtle Lodge. Mino-Pi-Mati-Si-Win is about living from the heart. It's about seeing, listening, feeling, speaking, and acting from the heart. He is a visionary with a vision for all peoples and for the earth. His teachings and work have created a web of resilience and healing, not only on these lands, but all over the world. Dave, we are deeply indebted to you. If you have not already and you are able to, please make a donation to the Turtle Lodge for the continuation of this work benefiting us all. We'll do our best to leave time for questions and reflections at the end of the evening. We ask that you type out your questions in the Q&A box provided. Joining us from the Turtle Lodge in Manitoba, welcome, dearest Dave.
Bonjour, Anin, Dinemaganituk. Nii Gaani Aki Inini Kas, Kinion Dotem, Saging Donji. Thank you very much, Ramona, for giving me this opportunity to share a few words this evening. Let me begin by offering words of gratitude to the Spirit. It is in the spiritual realm that we find the higher intelligence. I thank the Great Spirit for all the blessings we receive in life to live a good life. I also give thanks and gratitude to the Spirit of Mother Earth for showing so much patience for the human being. We have much to learn from her, and we're still evolving as human beings to learn our true purpose and meaning in being a human being. What we are currently living through with this COVID virus has been somewhat of a challenge. When I look at the experience of being isolated, I see it as a global vision quest. And that's a rite of passage that our people have lived by, that the young people would be given an opportunity to find themselves. And when we take the opportunity to go through a rite of passage, we can learn a lot about ourselves and our own identity. And today we should take that opportunity, in our homes to reflect on our own purpose to our own individual lives. We need to reflect more on our own memory, to remember the original instructions that we were all given as human beings on how to be a good human being. During my journey with the knowledge keepers of my people, much of what they shared with me, I want to share a bit of that. Let me begin by acknowledging an elder that had come out of ceremony to talk to the people. And I remember his words and the language. And he said to the people, "Mayaga nendaguk miwe wachichakum." Translated, it means that the most important element of our humanness is our spirit. And I've heard this over and over again in our lodges and in our ceremonies that we need to nurture that spirit that is within each of us. I've heard the elders speak about that spirit that comes in ceremony as a shining blue light. And each and every one of you that are listening, I want to share with you the significance of that spirit that comes in a shining blue light. When the elders speak to us, it is always encouraging us to live connected to the spirit and connected to our own spirit that defines our identity. The knowledge that we hold as a people, I see is needed more than ever. We, as the original free and independent peoples of our homeland, we have been here for tens of thousands of years, evolving with a knowledge and understanding about the significance of spirit, and also having the knowledge of the relationship that we should have with Mother Earth. We have evolved with that knowledge and understanding that we are challenged today as ones that have been acknowledged to be knowledge keepers of our people, to share as much as we can through our own experience and ceremonies and the times that we have spent on the land, to feel the land and to hear the voice of Mother Earth herself. We need to revolutionize the whole education system as it is presently delivered to our children. Again, I remember a grandmother speaking to me and speaking to many. And she would say, and I've said this to us, Mayache kana mata pinonchi, miwe kije autism. Chikana mata pinonchi, miwe manachite. Chikana mata pinonchi, aninge win chip mosetabaki. What that elder said is that what we need to teach the child that is so important is their own spirit. Is that what the child should be taught are values that would help them to have a good life. That they have a foundation of values that would connect them to the spirit and certainly connect them to the land. There is a law that has been passed down to us that our ancestors had lived by. And that law was referred to as Apinon Jigagi Kweven. Translated, it means teachings that are given to a child that last forever, that can only be given by woman. We have arrived in a time that we are evolving to understand the role and the sacred role of women, the sacred role of our mothers and our grandmothers. And if we see and look and reflect on the world that we have created, it has been created primarily through the minds of men that have lost connection to the land. This, I believe, is the root of our problem in our world today, is that we do not have the kind of connection that we should have with Mother Earth that provides our sustenance, that provides all what we need in order to be able to live and to survive. If we can share this understanding, which is a simple understanding that the earth is a living entity. Mother Earth has a spirit at the core of her being. How else would she be able to give birth to life that we see in creation? And the women carry that same power, that they can bring life into this world. That is why that they're called life givers. And attached to the gift of being life givers is the strength and whatever she would need in order to raise that child, to teach that child, and most of all, to teach the child about love itself. Because all life is created through the spirit of love. And we have to do everything that we can to ensure that we create environments for our mothers, our grandmothers to share those sacred teachings that we need. We can't continue to walk down this path that is destroying life, that is destroying the earth, and certainly dividing us and separating us as the human family. In our understanding, the Great Spirit created a world that we had to receive equally what we needed in order to live and to survive as human beings. And there is a law that our people had lived by, that we never take more than what we need from the land in order to live and to survive. And we live with the values today that is tearing the earth apart, is tearing us apart, is that value of greed. When you have greed enter into your being, you never have enough. You have to keep feeding it. But when you accept the natural laws that Mother Earth expresses to all of us, we quickly learn that that law that our people had lived and practiced, that we only take what we need in order to live and to survive. In this time of this pandemic, you know, we should take this opportunity to really reflect on our own personal attitudes, our own personal understandings, our own personal way of the way that we are behaving as human beings. Are we being true, you know, to the spirit that is in each of us that identifies what our real purpose is in life? As a people, I am proud to say that we are a people that have a genetic memory that goes as far back as creation. We remember the original instructions that we were given on how to live and how to behave as human beings. Prophecy had foretold that we would arrive in this time, that we would be propelled into the forefront of a movement that would help awaken the human family. We have had to endure a lot as a people. We've had to suffer a lot. And there was a loss of life in many different ways. And the attempt to destroy our identity was almost successful, but the spirit was too strong forever to be buried. And today we have people within our nations that are considered the knowledge keepers of our people. They have remained faithful and loyal to the ancestral ways of our people. And these are the people that we need more than ever to guide us through these times of change. And it was said in prophecy that Mother Earth would give birth to a new life. And I've wondered about that many times. What did the Spirit mean that Mother Earth would give birth to a new life? And I believe that what the prophecy had meant was that it would be the young people that would bring forward the teachings that they would receive from the knowledge keepers. And they would create a new world, a new life based on the values that would be in supportive of the spiritual laws and the natural laws of the earth. So if we're going to fulfill the prophecy of supporting the new life, it means that we must support the laws of Mother Earth first of all. And we must support the spiritual laws that are given to all people. And we must be prepared to support the young people today, that they be given maximum opportunity to be able to learn the richness of a knowledge of a people that have been here for tens of thousands of years. And we have our people across the land, you know, that have become recognized as the knowledge keepers, that we should call upon, you know, to give mentorship to the young people. Through my own experience in life, I have come to realize that more than ever, that the young people should not be denied the mentorship of the elders, that the elders are positioned to be able to share the richness of the knowledge on how we should live and behave as human beings. We have a lot to do. We have a lot to learn. And it's the knowledge keepers, primarily the grandmothers of our nations, that need to be put into their rightful place of influence, where they can share the teachings that the young people need more than ever. We need to give hope to the young people. We need to help them to understand that they have a future. Granted, that what we have done, in our current reality is really spend the inheritance of our children. And we need to come to terms with that. We need to find a way to support the young people to be able to come to terms with their own identity as human beings. And I believe that one of the ways that we can give support to all young people, not only Indigenous people, but all young people, that we share the rite of passage for them, that they have that maximum opportunity to come within the lodges of our people, to hear from the grandmothers, particularly when a young girl reaches the time that she bleeds for the first time, that she's automatically taken to the grandmothers to learn about what it is to be gifted, to be a woman, to bring life into this world, and all the teachings that are needed in order for that woman to be the mother to that child, that the child will receive the maximum love that a mother can give. And also to the young boys, when they reach the level of puberty, that they're taken out to the land to cry out to the Great Spirit for a vision that would offer them purpose and meaning to their own life. But equally important for that young boy as he goes to the land, to the Spirit, to find his purpose, is to feel the love of Mother Earth herself. A man, boy, will never become a man until he's initiated by a woman. And that is what the elders have been saying to us, that young boy has to be given that opportunity to learn about the sacredness of life. And he must be initiated by a woman. Under the current system that we're living, that boy never has an opportunity to be initiated by a woman, because he's too busy trying to live in the context of a world that dominates the earth, that controls the earth. And this is something that has to be taken out of the minds of the young boys, that they cannot ever live their life feeling that they can be in possession of the earth or control the earth and their laws, nor control a woman in their life. So there's a lot that can be shared. There's a lot that the elders want to do, in order to share whatever knowledge that they have. And my concern is that we're losing a lot of these knowledge keepers really quickly. And they are still those amongst our nations across the land, that can still be called upon, to share those teachings. We at the Turtle Lodge are very fortunate that we have a relationship with some of those faithful knowledge keepers from across the country that have come to the lodge to share their teachings. It has always been my hope that our people would have more opportunity to learn that knowledge that we are hearing in the lodge. And that's the challenge that we all face, is to try to change the world that we're living in and create a much better world. And it begins with our children. Our children must be centered with whatever we do in life, whatever we work on, that the child is considered in anything that we do when it comes to living our own lives. We have an opportunity here to be able to reflect on life itself. And I don't take what we're experiencing right now by being isolated as something that is negative, but rather, to me, it creates an opportunity for all of us to be able to really reflect on the way that we are living and what we are doing to each other as humanity. As a people, we have evolved as a spiritual people. We are a spiritual people. And it is that kindness that we have that is inherent in our DNA as a people, that we have a tendency to always show kindness to anyone and to show kindness to the land itself. And we need to revolutionize the whole education system to include that part of our nature that we call the spirit. And it is the indigenous people that should lead this process of spiritual education for the children, because they are the best position to be able to share that knowledge of the significance and importance of spirit itself. We still have people amongst ourselves that have that knowledge, and we should call upon them. We should offer them a gift to share their knowledge. And for the young people to take the time to speak to elders, knowledge keepers, or come to ceremonies where you will find the elders still gathering, honoring the spirit. Even right now in our challenge with the pandemic, I see that the sacred fires are being lit, which is the right thing to do. Because the sacred fire is an element that is a part of our life. And it is the sacred fire that acts as an entrance and a doorway to the spirit. That we should be making offerings into that fire with the tobacco that has become a symbol of giving. That we put some offerings of food, giving thanks to Mother Earth that in spite of what we have done to her, that she still continues to give us what we need in order to be able to live and to survive. This is what the young people, I believe, need more than ever, is to be able to develop a relationship with the land itself, with Mother Earth. And our people have been saying this forever, that what we do to the land, we do to ourselves. And we're witnessing that now today, that we have harmed the earth so much that we have harmed ourselves in this whole attitude that we have in regards to our relationship to the land. Young people today deserve that opportunity to be able to hear the richness of a knowledge that the knowledge keepers carry. And I can't begin to say how very, very important it is that the grandmothers particularly be put back into their position of leading all of us in our lives, in our families. It is the grandmother that really is the matriarch of all of us, all in our families, that they hold the experience and the knowledge when it comes to understanding the sacredness of life. I remember my grandmother, very wise grandmother that I had lived with, for 1 year. I was chosen, of all the family relatives to be the one that I would spend a year with my grandparents. And I always remember the teachings of my grandmother, the way that she always reminded me, and I never forgot, because my mother would tell me the same thing. Which means the most important way that we can think, act, is in the spirit of kindness. That is what we need in the world today, is that kindness that we find in our heart. When I took a group of young people into the mountains and we fasted, and I heard this voice as we left the mountains and we came down off the mountains, and I heard the Spirit say to me, now go and find the people of the heart. And I didn't understand that for a long time. But now today I realize more than ever that the people of the heart are the people that are reflecting kindness, that are reflecting love for life, for everyone. Those are the people of the heart. And those are the people that are going to lead us beyond this darkness that we are currently witnessing in our world today. It will be the people of the heart that really bring the spirit of hope to all of us. They will know instinctively from the deepness of their heart that we will survive as long as there is one person walking on this earth with the spirit of that truth of kindness. And I've been very fortunate in meeting many people from around the world that reflect that kindness, that they are, real people of the heart. And I would ask, the audience here this evening, Are you a person of the heart? Are you one that it is very natural for you to show kindness and love for all of life? We live in a world today that we're so separated and we're so divided for whatever reason, that may be in the minds of people. One thing we know that we have experienced as a people is the racism and the attitude that we have had to endure, that many, have considered that we are not, we don't represent, to be a human being. And we saw that in our experience with the boarding school system, when our people were ripped from the arms of their mothers, to be taught a totally different way of life that was in absolute total opposition of the teachings of our people and our ancestors. So there has been a real negative impact, which we still see today in our communities, because the knowledge, and particularly the relationship with the grandmothers has been separated. And we need to bring that relationship back, into our lives, where our young people are brought to the grandmothers so that the grandmothers can teach those teachings. Why is it so difficult for us to create environments of that type of education where our grandmothers are put to be the true teachers of our children? We should never give up that right that we are born with as parents, to decide what is best for our children. And it is the grandmothers that have reminded me over the years, what is the most important thing that you can teach a child. And of course, it's about the values, the teachings. As an Anishinaabe people, we have what we call the 7 teachings or the 7 laws that act as the foundation of how we should be living as spiritual beings. Those 7 teachings that we have are connected to nature, to the animals. It is the animals that have always been there, to guide us in our lives. And it is through the animals that we understand the natural laws that we should be living by. When we talk about, for example, the first teaching, which is the teaching of respect that was symbolized and represented by the buffalo, what does that mean? To know respect is to know how to give. To know respect is to know how to share. It is the grandfather buffalo that was amongst our people years ago that gave every part of its being so that we could live and survive as a people. And then what happened? Suddenly there was a time when a new people came and they slaughtered the buffalo by the millions, and the land was red with the blood of the buffalo. And our people suffered because of that relationship and that sacred relationship that we had with the buffalo. Not only did it give us food and every part of its being, but it brought the spirit of respect that we had to learn to live by in living this human life. And when we talk about the teaching of love that is represented by the eagle, that's the highest way that we can live as human beings, is to be expressive of love, to act in love. And it's the grandfather eagle, that flies high into the sky and has such a close connection to the Great Spirit and carries our words of prayer to the Great Spirit, that we are still, doing everything that we can to live by the 7 teachings, that really define our humanity. And it is the love of the eagle, that brings vision for us. It is the eagle that brings vision to the young boy, that goes to the land to seek his purpose and meaning in love. And then we have the teaching of the law of courage that is represented by the bear. And we need the spirit of the bear more than ever today to have the courage to be able to live that spiritual life that is grounded within the original instructions that we were all given. The bear is a true brother to us as an Anishinaabe people. It is the buffalo that has shown us about the vision quest. Just recently, the bears have come out of their vision quest, and they always come with a message for us to take the time to go into ceremony and ask the spirit of the bear, what is it that we need to learn? And what we need to learn is to have more courage to be able to do the right thing. And that voice that we need to hear is the voice within our own heart to have the courage of the voice that we are hearing within ourselves on how to live and behave as human beings. And when we talk about the spirit of the beaver is there to help us to understand wisdom. And wisdom is to know that you have a gift that defines, your role in creating a better world. I overstepped the law of the Sabe, which is the law of honesty, to be true to who you are, be true to your spirit. And that Sabe has been walking on the land more than ever. What we are seeing and witnessing, that there are more and more people that are seeing the Sabe, Bigfoot, walking across the land to try and bring this understanding, to be honest, to be true to our spirit. So we need to call upon that spirit of that Sabe to help us, that we can lead our children with and being honest with them. We have to stop deceiving our children. We have to stop trying to encourage our children to be something that they should not be, which is to be materialistic, to be greedy, but rather to teach them about the values and the teaching that they should be living by. And back to the beaver, when we talk about the beaver, it's wisdom is not talking about academic intellectual knowledge. We're talking wisdom from a spiritual aspect, that each and every one of us have been given gifts. No human being, no life was not given gifts that determine their identity and how to be, like in this case, to be a human being. And within our spirit are the teaching, the memory, and the original instructions that how we should be living. We need the help of the beaver more than ever to create a better world, to build a better world. And if we watch the beaver on the land and we see what he does and how he works with the water, and then he creates, a place where other animals could come, to enjoy the water that he has worked with. And this is what we need to do. We need to be like the spirit of that beaver and be prepared to build a new world, to create a new world where there will be peace, that there will be greater understanding of our humanness, to understand the truth of our humanity, as human beings. And then when we talk about the law of humbleness, which is represented by the wolf, you cannot walk a spiritual life without showing humbleness to the greater power of intelligence that we call the Great Spirit. We do not have the intellectual capacity to be able to understand the greatness of the Great Spirit. Much still remains a mystery. The best that we can do as human beings is to feel the love of the Great Spirit that we feel within our heart. And to know humbleness is to know that we cannot control nature's laws. We cannot possess Mother Earth, but we humble ourselves and reciprocate the love that she gives all of us through what we need to live and to survive. And we need to be more humble amongst ourselves as the human family. No one was given more than another nation. That each of us within the human family, we must humble ourselves to know that all of us have something that we can contribute to create a better world. Everyone has an opportunity to express within their own uniqueness of the gifts that they have, but in a humble way. And this is the way that our people have always walked, is to show humbleness for all of life. And the ones that best express that are always the elders, the grandmothers, and the grandfathers that always show this humbleness when you approach them. When you're able to sit with them, talk to them, they bring a lot of laughter. Just to have them in our presence creates such an energy, that you get excited to know that the elders are within your presence. And it is the elders today that have been given the responsibility to lift those gifts that we have, the sacred pipe, the rattles, the drums that we have, to share that knowledge to the younger people so that they're able to use those gifts properly in a humble way. All these gifts that we have cannot be misused by having an attitude of anger, to have an attitude of superiority, but rather in humbleness, that the pipes that we hold, the drums that we have, the rattles that we have, have a power to invoke the Spirit to come within our presence, to guide us and to teach us in our life, and to call out to the Spirit, to bring dreams that we can have at nighttime, to see the presence of our ancestors as they come to visit us and they come to guide us. So to have that humbleness is very, very, very important. And today, more than ever, that we show humbleness to that higher power of intelligence that we refer to as the Spirit. And finally, the seventh law is represented by the grandmother turtle, the one we call Mikinak. And in our language, we say Mikanake, which is rotated, that the grandmother turtle has created a path for us, a path to follow that is inclusive of all the teachings that I just shared, which amount to what truth is all about. And it was no coincidence or accident that the Great Spirit allowed the grandmother turtle to come and give this vision of the Turtle Lodge. And through my experience in receiving the vision, I have learned how important to have a vision is. And every human being has the capacity to be able to receive a vision that would define their work and their purpose in life. And it has always been my hope that, we would model these lodges, this Turtle Lodge, that each and every community that is serious about having a place that this knowledge can be shared, that they create their own Turtle Lodges within their areas from where they are, because that was a part of the vision that I had received, to encourage people to build their lodges and to return back to allowing the grandmothers and the elders to share the teachings that should be shared with the young people, that the young people be given maximum opportunity to be able to experience a way of life that is so important today more than ever. And I really totally believe that being the original free and independent people of our homeland, that we are the true leaders of our homeland. I don't say that in a political sense, in a political context, but rather a leadership that is based on teachings and values that I just shared, that we model those teachings, that other people can see that there can be peace in this world. As a people, we've had to endure a lot, and yet we've been able to reach that level of forgiveness and willingness to share our heart and our spirit with the world, because we know that we cannot keep this knowledge to ourselves. It is meant to be shared in the same spirit in the way that we have received it, through the unconditional love of the Spirit itself, of the land, and of the elders that have always been there to share those teachings unconditionally. So this is why, for me personally, I take whatever opportunity that I'm given, to speak on behalf of a way of life, a spiritual way of life, that we can all enjoy life if we're only able to find that spirit and make that journey to our own heart to find our own identity as a people. A lot more, can be said in terms of the challenges that we face in today's world. And today I would encourage those that are listening, to reflect upon the significance and importance of the spirit that is inside of you, because there is a spirit that gives you the life that you are enjoying. And within that spirit that is inside of you, it carries the memory of your own identity and who you are as a human being. With the people that are identified as the people of the heart, they will be positioned into a place of leadership. And according to the prophecies of our people, as we are given the responsibility of leadership, we invite the uniqueness of the human family to join us in our leadership, to take better care of the earth, to take better care of each other, that we should not be so fully consumed with the idea of the value of greed, but rather to be filled, with the spirit of love for all of life. And as knowledge keepers of our people, I recognize that, we have a sacred duty to share whatever we are able to share to those, who will listen to the message of Indigenous people. I am so proud to be an Anishinaabe. You know, I'm so passionate about who I am. I am so passionate about the spirit that has been there to give me dreams and give me visions that would help me to live a life that has brought so much joy in my life. And to me, you know, I would encourage people that once you have found your spirit, you have a greater opportunity to be able to really enjoy life, to really be happy. The Creator did not put us here into this world to be angry, to be in fear, but rather to enjoy life. And this is the challenge we face today, is to find that spirit that we can find enjoyment in our life, and to know that each and every one of us can have a very strong significance in participating in creating a better world. And I know we can do this. I believe that here within our homeland, with the uniqueness of the human family, you know, allow yourself for the elders to take the lead. Let the indigenous lead this movement that we are given opportunity right now, you know, to be a more spiritual people, to develop a much more sacred relationship with the land, you know, that where we will find the teachings that Mother Earth has always been there to teach us, and for us to recognize, you know, our role in this creation that we live today in being human beings. We have to try to regain that memory of the original instructions. And this is where indigenous people, the knowledge keepers, can really be a big support in helping those, no matter where you sit within the circle of humanity. The old people, the knowledge keepers, are more than willing to share with those that want to learn. But people have to make the effort to come within the lodges of our people to experience that spirit. This is not an intellectual political exercise, but rather a spiritual opportunity to feel the spirit, you know, as it comes within our presence through the power of the gifts that we have been given as a people. Once we're able to connect with the spirit, you know, we will be guided. We will be guided in the same way our people were guided through these really dark times. We survived to uphold those teachings that our ancestors had suffered, you know, to be able to still have memory of those teachings. So it is a time that we should welcome, because there is a change that is happening, and it is a universal change that we see happening around the world. But how many of the human beings are going to recognize the opportunity that we are being given to really reflect on what is most important in life, which is our own spiritual being? Do we understand why we're here? Do you understand who you are? Do you know the gifts that you have? And everyone was given a gift or gifts that would help to bring about and create a better world. And that's the opportunity I believe that we have today, is to be able to unite in the spirit of common concern that we have of what is happening to the earth. And we should be concerned because it concerns the future of our own children. We need to find a way that we create a foundation for our young people so that they have the values that they will need to create a better world. It's our young people that we call upon more than ever today to step forward and give themselves that opportunity to come and learn from the knowledge keepers of our people. And I challenge all parents, you know, to support your child, to come and learn from indigenous people. You know, it's been a one-way street, you know, when it comes to having relationship in our homeland. We always have to go towards someone else. And I want to reverse that. I want people to come to us for a change. You know, take the time to come and learn from us. Come and learn why we believe in spirit so much. Come and learn from us why we love the land so much. This is what we hope for, is that we can take that opportunity, you know, that is being given to us from this higher source of intelligence that we call the spirit. I want to thank all of you for taking the time out to, you know, to listen to the words that I spoke here this evening. And finally, you know, in prayer, you know, I wish each and every one of you all the best that life can offer. Allow yourself to feel that spirit that is in the land. Go and sit beside a tree, hug that tree. You know, in the profoundness of our elders, they said, do you want to hug the Creator? I said, yes. And he said, well, go and hug a tree. Then you will hug the Creator. That's a profound understanding that we can feel the presence of the Creator through what has been created, that has been born from Mother Earth. You know, go by a lake and feel the presence of the Spirit in the water. You know, go to the land itself and feel that Spirit in the way that our people had lived for tens of thousands of years, keeping this land clean and really connected to the Spirit itself. So thank you, Ramona, for the invitation, and I'll close it off here now. Thank you so much. Miigwech.
Miigwech, thank you so much, Dave. I know that many are calling you now for guidance, and for you to take this time with us tonight was profound and invaluable. So thank you so much. We've had quite a number of people join us on Facebook and wish you blessings and prayers from all over Canada and beyond. We do have one question in the chat box. If you are a woman who has not been able to have children, what are you then? If a woman cannot be a life giver, what is she?
You know that I'm glad that you asked that question, because I know that there must be a lot of women, you know, that may not be mothers, but there's always a role for everyone. And I think when a woman, you know, is not and does not have children, she kind of leads toward, you know, being more involved in the leadership, you know, the way that the man is given the responsibility to uphold the spiritual laws of the Creator. And to me, there's always a place for everyone. And, you know, rather than me answer that question directly to that lady, whoever is asked the question, that she goes to the higher source of influence, is the Spirit, and asks the Spirit, what is it that they have in mind for her to fulfill her identity and her role as a woman that may not have any children. To me, there's a place for everyone. All we need to do is try and find whatever our purpose is in life. And certainly the woman that has asked the question, she already has the natural gift as a woman to be able to share the knowledge of the sacredness of life itself. Automatically, she has teachings that are reflective of Mother Earth herself. So there's always a way. And you know, it's not for me to define or decide for anybody what their purpose is in life, but all I can say, it's, you know, she has a power within her, you know, to exercise that power in a good way, to share, you know, her understanding of the sacredness of life itself.
Another question, what can we do to overcome our fears?
I think that's a really good question that you know, that's being asked. You know, how do we overcome the fear? And I would answer that in a very simple way, is to have faith in the Spirit, that the Spirit is always there, you know, to guide us and to direct us, even during these times that we are in today. And I know that there's a lot of fear that's been created, you know, because there's a lot of uncertainty. We don't know how long this is going to last. But if you're able to connect spiritually from your own spirit and connect, and you will be given, you know, whatever you need in order to survive these challenges that we have in life. And fear has a way of destroying the body, the mind, and it has a tendency to open a lot of negative things that we should not have in life. Fear can lead to anger. Fear can lead to a lot of negative things. And in my understanding of the grandmothers, they always say, you know, always put the spirit of kindness into your heart. Don't allow fear in your mind. And the only way that we can overcome that fear, to me, to answer it in the most simple way, is to live a spiritual life. Then there is no fear.
People talk about the new normal. After the pandemic is over, what do you think or hope this new normal will look like?
It's my hope, and I've always been an optimist, that there will be people, that will step forward, and realize that we have to change. And change never really happens by the masses of people suddenly realizing that we need to put spirit in our life. The law of nature is that there will be a few that will plant a seed, for that new life. And again, in prophecy, it was foretold that we would be in a position of leadership to help other people. And our challenge right now is to find each other, within the fulfillment of that prophecy. And to begin by acknowledging that Indigenous people have a knowledge, and they should be positioned in that position of leadership in this time. That people take the opportunity to try to connect with the knowledge keepers of our people. And there's knowledge keepers right across the country that I am aware of, that I know that they would welcome anyone to come and sit down with them and talk to them about, the knowledge that they carry. So that, I don't see a lot of changes happening right away, because we have created such a world that it's going to take time for us to change, the current context of the way that we're living. And it's going to be the few. And I'm hoping that, whatever has been shared here this evening, that you are that few that is willing to embark on that journey of becoming a part of leadership to create a better world.
In your opinion, Dave, what is the singular most important action we can take at this moment to do now, whether it's ritual, we can do to help evolve the human spirit to help Mother Earth? Gratitude.
I think that in answer to that question, the first thing we need to do is offer words of gratitude to the spirit itself. We may not have a full understanding of that higher intelligence that's found in the spirit realm, but certainly, each morning we can acknowledge that higher power. And people have many names for that higher power. We've made reference to be the Great Spirit, but acknowledge that breath of life that you wake up with each morning. And even facing the rising sun, which is a symbol of the Creator itself, is the grandfather's son. And ask the question, Grandfather, what does the Creator want me to do today? And hopefully you're able to be open enough to be able to receive the message of spirit on what they hope that you would do for the day. And the other thing is to offer words of gratitude to Mother Earth, to give thanks to her, that we have made her sick and that we have not followed the laws that we should be following. But we ask in the simple words of gratitude, that she never gives up on us, that we continue to find a way through her way, that we can live a natural life that is based on real balance and harmony of being able to live this human life. And also, offering words of gratitude to the ones that represent the balance of life of the four directions, the east, the south, the west, and the north, spirit, ancestors that are there to help guide us in our life. And the answers that people are looking for are really within themselves. And they need to find a way in order to connect the truth that they hold inside, to connect with the laws of the Creator, to connect with the laws of the land. So all it does is requiring a simple gesture of gratitude to the Spirit in prayer.
How do you connect with your spirit? I have a spirit name, but don't know my language or any current connections to elders or knowledge keepers to learn.
Much of the questions that people have, I would defer that to the Spirit. Whatever name that you were blessed and received, as a human being, you call upon that Spirit, to help you to understand your identity, that's come through the name that you have received. To have a spiritual name is absolutely significant and important to our culture. when a child is born, we're encouraged to ensure that that child, be connected to the spiritual world by receiving a name. Because the names that we have are sacred. The names that we have help us to understand our own identity as human beings. And again, it begins with by humbling ourselves, asking the Spirit and telling the Spirit, I don't know. Sometimes that's a hard thing to say, I don't know. But there's nothing wrong when, if we can admit that we don't know and reach out to the Spirit and say, give me that knowledge that I need, that I can understand more of my identity and my purpose in this life. If you make the offerings that are common within our culture, you put tobacco on the land, someplace clean, and talk to that Spirit. Talk to that Spirit the same way that we are talking to each other. Develop that relationship with Spirit in that way. Even go to a tree and talk to that tree, because that tree has a lot of knowledge, and that tree will help you to understand more of yourself and who you are.
Dave, I'm mindful of the time. There are so many messages on Facebook of prayers, Miigwech, for your health, for these teachings, and requests from Ireland and Florida and all across the Indigenous lands. People asking as well for you to continue to offer these live teachings. So it is ancient wisdom and definitely relevant for these times. Many people also mentioning that they were once boys on the land vision questing with you and offering their gratitude. And many also praying that there'll come a time they will be able to visit the Turtle Lodge again and sing for you and offer tobacco. So many blessings. Again, please visit theturtlelodge.org for additional teachings and to support the great work. Dave, much gratitude. Stay healthy, stay well. And Sabina, who is somewhere in the background, thank you as well for always being able to support these teachings. Be well, everyone. Thank you all for joining, and take care of yourselves and each other. Good night.